Hi everybody, my name is Jens Larsen, and in this video I'm going to talk about some of the craziest arpeggios that I know. If you're already subscribed to my channel, then you probably know that I like to use drop 2 voicings and shell voicings and quartal harmony as arpeggios in my lines. And I'm always looking for new structures that I can make some interesting melodies with. In this video I'm going to talk about a type of arpeggios that I came across a few weeks ago that I really like the sound of. They have a very extended range, and I guess the sound kinda is reminding me of Alan Holdsworth or maybe Mark Turner, which is something that I really like. Since these arpeggios are constructed by stacking different things on top of each other, the easiest way to talk about how they are made is probably just to show you some examples and go over the different building blocks that make up the arpeggios. This line is basically just an A minor modal type line, and the first part of it is just messing around with a C major 7 arpeggio, so that's sort of build around this arpeggio. Then I skip down and play the larger extended range arpeggio, and that would be this. And what this is basically constructed out of is two things. First we have the lower part of the arpeggio, which is an A minor open voice triad, and then that's followed by an upper structure that's this quartal voicing from a quartal arpeggio from D. And then from there I just go down to B and then up to E to end the line. The idea is that our extended range arpeggio has a lower and a higher part. So the lower part is closely related to the chord that we're playing it on. In this case, that's an A minor triad because it's the A minor 7 chord. And then the upper structure is giving all the extensions and all the colors. And in this case, that's a quartal arpeggio from D, which gives us an A minor 7 with an 11 type sound in total. The second example is on a 2-5-1 in the key of G major, and the A minor part is pretty simple, so it's just a trill and then C major 7 arpeggio, and then we get to the extended range arpeggio on the D7 altered, and that's this arpeggio. And also this arpeggio has two parts, so the first part is this D7 drop 2 voicing, which is a D7 flat 5 drop 2 voicing, and then on top of that I have an upper structure that's an F minor triad in first inversion, so in total we really get sort of this D altered sound, but then again spread out over 2 octaves and a third, and then resolving that to the 5th of G major 7. In this example, I'm again using a 2-5-1 the key of G major, and the extended range arpeggio is on the 2 chord, and this is the arpeggio. So the two parts that it's constructed of is first the lower part, which is a basic A minor 7 drop 2 voicing, so again firmly connected to the original sound of the chord, and then an upper structure, which is this B sus triad in inversion. And if you look at the extensions that we get from this and the sound of the complete chord, then we actually have an A minor 7 with a 13 and a 9, so we get this type of sound. And in the line, I sort of take that further on the D7 altered, with a line that's sort of coming out of a triad pair of A flat and B flat major triads on the D7 altered. A different way we can use these extended range arpeggios is to spell out changes in a chord melody arrangement. Often it can be kind of difficult on guitar to really find voicings that have that specific sound and will include all the notes that we need. So to illustrate this, here's the beginning of Stella by Starlight. Using the arpeggios like this is a nice way to bring out certain sounds, of course, but it's also nice to just have another option and some variation instead of just playing everything as chords when you're playing a chord melody arrangement. So in the arrangement I played an arpeggio on the E half diminished, and that would be this one. And what I'm playing here is again two parts, so I have this E diminished triad, and then to add some color on top of that I have this D sus triad up here. And then I use the high D to go to the A7 voicing. And then I play the melody. Then I actually sound the chord, so that's a C minor 11 here. And then I have this C minor 11 with a 9 arpeggio that I use to transition to an F9. The arpeggio that I'm using on the C minor 7, so this one, is sometimes referred to as the Herbie Hancock minor 11 voicing, by the way. Another place that you can put these extended range arpeggios to good use is if you're playing over a scale sound that's polytonal in nature. So, for instance, if we're playing over a G major 7 sharp 5 chord like this one, and I'm using the G augmented scale, so that's the scale that's constructed out of a G major triad, an E flat major triad, and a B major triad, then I could have a line like this. So what I'm playing here is basically a G drop 2 major 7 voicing, and then another structure that's found in that scale would be an E flat minor major arpeggio, so that's this arpeggio, and then I'm resolving that by going to the B and up to the F sharp. The fact that the augmented scale has so many different colors on top of each chord means it's very practical to have an arpeggio construction where we have a lower part that's just spelling out the basic chord, and then a higher part that's a completely different note set spelling out all the different colors on top of that chord. If you want to check out how I got the idea for this type of voicing and this type of chords, then you should check out this interview with Jacob Collier, where he starts singing some piano voicings to illustrate what the sound is and how it moves when you move from the lower to the higher octave. I'll link to that interview in the description of this video. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, about improvising over chord progressions, harmony and chord voicings, then subscribe to my channel. I publish a new lesson every Thursday, and I've been doing this for almost 3 years, so there are a lot of videos on my channel already. If you want to help me keep making all these videos and support me, then check out my Patreon page. I have a small community of people supporting me on Patreon, and on Patreon I can give you something in return, so there are extras in terms of monthly chord melodies. I've written a book with some licks, and there's a lot of stuff happening. So check out my Patreon page if you like this video and you want to support me. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and on to next week.